Welcome to Here to Be Human, a multidimensional soul. This is not just a podcast, it's a remembering. A space where soul meets skin and the sacred meets the messy. Where spirit is not something you escape into, it's something you embody here in this beautiful, chaotic, breathtaking human life. Each episode is a living transmission, a weaving of energy, truth, reflection, and remembrance, with questions for your soul, messages from beyond, and invitations to meet yourself in ways you've never dared to before. Whether you're walking through shadow or starlight, you belong here. I am Julie, your guide, your mirror, your voice in the void. This is Here to Be Human, and you are right on time. Your shadow isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to belong. It's trying to be heard. It's trying to come home. This is Here to Be Human, a multidimensional soul. And today's episode is called Shadow Work and the Parts of You That Want to Be Seen. So let's invite our reflection point for today. What parts of yourself have you hidden to be loved, accepted, or safe? What do you keep in the dark? I'll say that again. What parts of yourself have you hidden to be loved, accepted, or safe? And what do you keep in the dark? And I invite you just to feel without needing to fix anything. So segment 1 is, what is shadow really? Shadow is not evil. It's unintegrated truth. It's energy we were taught to exile. I'm going to say that again because that's quite powerful. Shadow is not evil. It's unintegrated truth. It's energy we were taught to exile. Now, shadow can look like anger you weren't allowed to feel, power you were punished for expressing, desire you were told was shameful, grief you had to suppress, magic you were made to doubt. Shadow forms wherever love was withheld, and you had to dim yourself to survive. But these parts aren't gone. They're waiting, they're whispering, and they're sacred. So let us open up the space now for a deeper voice to come through. So I'm just going to channel spirit. I'll ask 2 questions and feel free to also channel and see what comes through for you. Oh, I like this one. What happens in the soul when we stop running from our darkness? What happens in the soul when we stop running from our darkness? When we stop running from the darkness, the soul has the opportunity to be lit up, to be able to, first of all, acknowledge that parts of them were kept hidden. So this is a process that takes place. First, the acknowledgement, then the acceptance, then the integration, then a feeling of a new version of yourself, not a better one, none of that, perfective labeling, a new version of you is beginning to be formed. Your identity starting to evolve for you. And then that being allowed to be seen by the rest of the world. So when we can stop running from the darkness, ultimately the outcome is allowing yourself to be truly seen by others. And that in itself is what we are all striving to move towards. How many times have we said, I don't feel like I'm being heard. I don't feel like I'm being seen. I feel like I'm just pushed to the side. So whenever you feel like you are placed in the back corner, almost like you cannot be seen by the people you want to see you, or like no matter what you do, it's like it's not being acknowledged. That is what is happening to the soul when we exile our shadow part, when we run away from our darkness. And our darkness isn't evil. Our darkness allows us to evolve. Our light helps us evolve. Our darkness helps us evolve. All the parts of us helps us evolve. And so when we stop running from it, we will be fully seen. And that is what happens to the soul. And what I mean by being fully seen is that it doesn't matter what someone says to you. It doesn't matter if they say, oh my God, you look amazing, or it's not about the acknowledgement of other people saying, I see you, I hear you, I feel you. It's about you showing up for yourself. You see you, you hear you, you feel you. And by allowing that to be how you show up, it is impossible for those around you to not feel that frequency, to not feel that energy that you're exuberating, that I know who I am. I know what I stand for. This is my identity. And I'm fully here in this experience, in my human self. The light, the dark, and everything in between. Ooh, that was a big one. Ooh, I like this question. So the next question for us to ask Spirit is, what truth is buried inside the parts of us we've learned to hide? Interesting. So what truth is buried inside the parts of us we've learned to hide? The truth of who you're becoming. The truth of your past lives. The truth of your desires. Ultimately, what is buried inside you that we've learned to hide? It's the parts of you that actually know what you came here to do. Whether you call that purpose, whether you call that your mission, that is what is buried inside of you. That is a truth that is waiting to be heard, to be seen, to be loved, to be accepted, to be integrated. And that is why a spiritual path that is only about focusing on the light aspects of your soul and ignoring the shadow or the darkness aspects, the things that we've been taught to hide, which are absolutely nothing wrong with us to have as part of our alignment, our desires, our loves, our goals, there is absolutely nothing wrong with your shadow. You brought it with you in this lifetime. So it's meant to teach you something. It's meant to help you evolve. And so, as I was saying, if you just live a life just focusing on the light and ignoring the shadow, chances are you will never be able to land your learnings in a way that is integrated and evolving of the soul. You'll always sit in the ether. Everything will be love and light over here. And you will judge people for their shadow. And that is not what the truest of souls came here to do. We came here to share unconditional love once we have learnt it, experienced it. And we can only do it when we have unconditional love for ourselves. And so if we do not have love for ourselves, it becomes very easy to judge other people's light and shadow. But really, we're not looking at what we are pushing to the side or what we're not wanting to see. And so this is the truth that is buried inside the parts of us. Not because we ultimately wanted to. That's not what we were born into this world to do. It is what we have learned, and we can unlearn that by taking moments, working with someone, if needs be, and embracing the shadow aspect. All right, my dog's a little bit active today. Alrighty, so as we're moving into segment 2, what we reject, we project. So what we don't own, we often project. We see in others what we fear in ourselves. We judge what we secretly carry. We avoid what mirrors us. But projection is an invitation. It says, look here, there's something you've disowned and it's time to reclaim it. So shadow work doesn't mean you're bad. It means you're ready to be whole, to be real, to be free. So let's bring through some wisdom here, again from Spirit. And the question to Spirit is, what does judgment reveal about where we are ready to come home to ourselves? What does judgment reveal about where we are ready to come home to ourselves? What does judgment reveal about where we are ready to come home to ourselves? Judgment reveals that there is still an old programming running through your system. There is judgment. There are 2 levels of judgment. One is judgment of others based on what society has said, that's wrong, that's bad. And even that judgment you have of someone because they make you feel something. They make you feel like a sense of, ooh, I don't like that. That makes me feel uneasy. There's an ick there for me. That's a new word out today, the ick. Anyway, so when we kind of have this physical feeling to someone doing something, that's an invitation for you to understand why is there a resistance to what that person is doing. Now, I'm not referring to people who are maliciously hurting someone else, right? I think everyone would be like, oh my God, that's terrible. But that's different to judgment. Judgment is about you having a physical, emotional, and possibly even a verbal reaction to someone where you, whether it's intentional or not, are shaming the other person for whatever it is that they're doing, their opinion, how they look, how they feel about something. Ultimately, that is what you are doing. So that's level one, so to speak, right? That's what it's revealing to you, that there is something within you that someone has done something and there's an immediate reaction and resistance to it. Now, this could be that you have had an experience with someone from the past. This could be something that makes you remember something, like a memory that maybe you haven't dealt with that situation. That's what that first level is trying to tell you. When there's a resistance, when you're judging someone for their actions, their thoughts, their feelings, their opinions, it's because somewhere in your life, someone made you feel a particular way that was shameful. And so someone has now held a mirror up to you to be like, you feel this too. And that's what the first stage is revealing to you. That's why people judge people. They're like, oh, I would never do that. That's wrong. It's not your life, it's their life. And that's the first thing, because now you're aware that there is a resistance, there's a physical reaction to it, or an emotional or mental reaction to it. So it has appeared in your world somewhere else. And again, I'm not talking about malicious intent, that type of thing. I'm talking about someone having a different opinion of yours. You don't like someone's haircut, whatever it is, right? Then the next level, which is where we go deeper, once you've realized that your resistance is because you've experienced the same thing, but maybe you've labeled it something different. When we go even further, what it's revealing to you is that you have an old program running through your system that you are unaware of, that you have not dealt with. Because I guarantee you, most human beings will always feel a sense of shame themselves when they have judged someone else harshly. Maybe not in the moment if you're giggling with your friends and judging the person, but when you have a moment to yourself, or even like a few minutes later, you might be like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. I don't know why I was thinking that. All of a sudden, you are feeling the shame that you have now put on that person. And then what that's doing is asking you, now let's go deeper, because you seem to have a program running through your system that either you have avoided, that you haven't looked at. Maybe it's an old programming of, for example, say when you were younger, your parents or your family members were really adamant about certain strict rules. This is how it is. Boom, 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 boom. And now you've taken that old programming that if something doesn't fit in a square box that you like, then you're going to judge the other person for it. That's what it reveals to us. What do we have to come home to? And that is the old programming that we don't like about ourselves, that has come either from society, come through teachings, old rules, old faith-based systems that maybe you don't resonate with anymore. It's an experience that you've had, which is why when you judge someone else, you tend to feel that ick, that shame, the uneasy feeling, because you want to be a better person. You want to rise above the fact that someone else is different to you. And you can only do that when you accept yourself. Accept all the parts of you, the light and the dark, because you would not judge someone else for embracing who they really are if you were in the same position that you had embraced yourself for who you are. You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to agree with everybody. But that judgment that shoots out first, whether you say it or not, that judgment is holding up a mirror to you, because there is something that you have yet to uncover, or that you know there's something there that you want to work on, but you're scared. Don't ever be afraid of your shadow. The universe is made up of light and darkness. And it sits in itself as purity, pure form, pure love, yet it has light and dark. That is what you are here to learn and to reveal about yourself, the light and the dark, for you are one with the universe. And if you are one with the universe, spirit, divine, God, whatever it is that resonates with you, all of that has light and dark. It has layers, but ultimately it has love. And that's what it's wanting to reveal to you, to come home to that love deep in your soul, for yourself and for others. I'm going to invite you to explore this reflection prompt. What do you find yourself judging most in others? And what if that's a mirror, not an accusation? What do you find yourself judging most in others? What if that's a mirror, not an accusation? And I just want you to sit with it. No shame, just insight. And as we now move into segment 3, integration is power. So when you welcome the shadow, you reclaim your energy, your voice, your soul's full range. You stop leaking power through shame. You stop fragmenting yourself for approval, and you become sovereign. Integration doesn't mean acting on every shadow impulse. It means understanding where it comes from and responding with awareness. That's power, that's maturity, and that's real embodiment. So let's go to Spirit one last time. Let's pause and listen for whatever else needs to be shared or wants to be shared. And so the question is, how does integration transform the way we move through the world? So how does integration transform the way we move through the world? The more that you integrate all the parts of you, and it doesn't feel to me that we integrate everything all in one lump sum. Like, here we go, here's all the parts of you, integrate it now. Integration comes at stages. It's like where our evolution is. So when we learn something, when it resonates, when we have had growth with it, we begin to integrate those teachings, and then we land them in our 3D experience, even though we know that it's coming from a range of levels, a range of frequencies. But when we can land that learning and we're integrating it in our everyday life, it transforms in how you then operate with other people, the decisions that you make moving forward, the choices that when they're presented to you, you have more discernment. So the more that you integrate your learnings along the way, and this is definitely like evolvement. And I think this is the key reason why I created this podcast show, because I saw so many times that people would be learning and doing all this stuff and trying to be spiritual and living in the light, but they were really struggling to land what it was that they learned at a retreat, or what they learned, or what they learned and saw at like a plant medicine ceremony, whatever it was. Yeah. Or even like courses and classes to do with mediumship and psychic development and healing modalities. All that learning needs to be integrated. That doesn't mean that every single bit of teaching that came your way, you have to integrate and become that. But it's understanding what needs to be integrated into your world, how you land it, how you embody that teaching, because if it resonates with you and aligns with where you are at and where you want to go, that transforms not only how you are going to show up, it makes you more knowledgeable, it raises your frequency, and people begin to see that frequency within you. They feel your energy, like something within you has lifted. It's like a heaviness has gone, right? And you're more lighter. Doesn't mean like you may not necessarily physically feel lighter, but other people around you will be like, "Ooh, it's like there's this light glowing," and they are drawn to you. They're drawn to you for the wisdom, for the energy, for the healing, for the insights. And when we feel that we can impart that knowledge, and we can only impart knowledge once we have integrated it. Otherwise, you are just regurgitating something that you learned. And when we speak without integration, it doesn't land for the other person. It just feels like noise. It's like, oh, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I don't really hear you because I'm not integrating, because I don't believe what's coming out of your mouth. When you integrate your teachings, when you integrate your shadow, when you integrate your lessons, and I'm not saying it's super easy, it's just being mindful that you need time to integrate, to understand why certain things happened, to understand why this new learning of yours is feeling so ingrained within you and so in alignment with who you are right now and who you are becoming. And when you speak with reverence from that point, you have more impact in the world. So you move with grace, you move with kindness, you move with a sense of inner power. And it's not power that you then manipulate other people. I'm talking about the inner power that you're like, I feel like I am at peace, and I feel like I am at one with my creator, with my universe, with Mother Earth. And when you feel that, you don't even have to speak of teachings with other people. It's how you move in this world that will move others. And that is how integration transforms you. So I'm going to offer this insight that you can sit with, and you can speak this into your own truth. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be whole. And wholeness means there is nothing in you that needs to be hidden in shame. And as we gently move through this ritual, titled, I Am Allowed to Be All of Me, it is a shadow invitation practice. So take a moment and sit with your eyes closed if you can. Let your breath slow. Let your spine feel supported. And either say out loud if you can, or to yourself, I no longer reject the parts of me that are inconvenient. I welcome my anger, my desire, my grief, my voice. I no longer shame what wants to be seen. I bring light to my shadow, not to destroy it, but to understand it. All of me belongs. All of me is sacred. And let this truth settle into your nervous system. And while it's doing that, here's your prompt in order to reflect. And so I ask of you, what is one part of you that wants to come out of hiding, even just a little? And in your own time, I encourage you to speak it into existence, write it out, and hold it with compassion. And remember, your shadow is not your enemy. It is a teacher, a protector, a portal to your power. In our next episode, we'll look at your voice, your truth, and reclaiming expression without apology. So until then, do not be afraid of the dark. That's where the stars are born. Thank you for being here fully. If today's episode stirred something in you, if you have a follow-up question, a reflection you'd like to share, or a way this conversation aligned with where you are right now, I'd love to hear from you. And if there are specific questions you'd like me to ask Spirit in future episodes based on what's coming up for you, send me a direct message at here.to.be.human.podcast on the Instagram page. Remember, your voice, your questions, your presence, they're part of this journey too. And if you'd like to connect with me more deeply, you'll find everything, sessions, programs, and updates over at www.moderndayMedium.com.au or on my Instagram page, which is at modern.day.medium. This is your invitation. This is the return. And this is what it means to be human. So until next time, stay with yourself, stay with your soul, and keep choosing this sacred, messy, and miraculous life.